Let's go ahead and look at our popular tab. So in the popular tab, what you have is what has people been looking at? What kind of things and correspondence have people been investigating to see the trends of what is most interested to people? And you have this by the week, the month, and then an all-time filter. And being that it's relatively new, you're not going to have a lot of views right now, but hopefully as you guys decide to onboard and help this project out, we can have fun with what are popular items. I have a whole idea around how I want to handle this in the future when it becomes more populated, and I would really like you guys to be a part of that. Let's look at the search function now. So if we look at the search function, we can use this to figure out what we're looking for and kind of hone in on exactly. So if I'm looking for a correspondence for Thursday to figure out what does it relate to, or ideas for Thursday, or for Mars or something, as you can see some try these buttons here. So let's go ahead and explore Mars ones. And you see that it comes up and has Mars, the Mars deity, the marshmallow as the herb. So it kind of helps bring it all together and search across the board. And one of the things this will also do on the back end is if you don't see something here, I'm tracking that as well, so I can try to see what needs to be added. But however, if you come in here and search for something that doesn't exist, which might be a little bit hard right now, let's say crystal, right? Because crystal will work. Let's say gallivantine. I don't know why I would say that, but let's search for that. All right, so gallivantine doesn't have anything. So you can actually come in here as a certain tiered member and submit the idea of gallivantine and what type of thing this is, and summarize it and submit it for review to add a thing if you didn't find it before. So that's a cool stuff. So let's head up on Mars again, and let's dive in to Mars, the planet. So when you click on this, you can actually come in and see a description about the item. Now we're working through descriptions and adding them, and I would love the community to add them as well, but that may come here in the future. So you have a descriptions of what this thing is. You can see how many people have viewed it and how many correspondences it currently has. There will be a nice picture up here that's going to be generated in due time. But then if you come down here to the overview, you can check out the category. You can check out the correspondence. It corresponds to iron. Now the ruled by, this is where it's going to be interesting, because ruled by warriors, I'm going to have to correct this because I would say that it corresponds to warriors. It's not ruled by warriors. So these are things that I would love for the community to come together and help clarify some of these things, because I do a data dump on the back end and then I have to go through and validate what the information is. So you can come in here as a user and help with the claims and sources and say, is it ruled by Tuesday? And, we could vote down and say no, right? Like, we don't say it's ruled by Tuesday. And maybe I add something here to add a comment as well. So what you can do next, from this page, you can see a graph about all the cool things that are associated to Mars. We just talked about the claims and sources here, where you can submit a source that says Mars is ruled by Tuesday, and you can say where it comes from. You can search for a existing one here in the books. So let's see if there's anything I have in Grimoire. Yeah, so like you can come in and find a source that is already in the correspondence, or you can type a new one in here, and then we will go research it and bring it in and validate and approve once it's all there, so that we can bring these new items in as well. And as the community grows and people cast their voice on these confidence and strengths based on the resources and the sources, you'll start to build these bigger nodes of validity to these different things. And then you have a change history over time. So if we do change a description, or we change up certain things about this, you can kind of see what that over time changes look like. Because overall, what we want to do is have some level of not only efficacy, but trustfulness to what we're building here. Let's say that you're going through here and you like what this is about, and you're like, I need to add a note. I'm going to add a private note here saying, I want to use Mars in my Tuesday rituals. All right, so we save that note. Cool. Now we have a private note here that's only visible to you. And what's cool about this is if you go to view all notes, you have a list of all the notes that are in your section, only visible to you, that you can kind of keep as a private stash. Let's go back to Mars real quick. A sword. All right. The King of Swords, like, look at this. It comes up with all the stuff that's already existing in our database. And I don't have the element of a sword as a thing here, but we can say that he corresponds to, I'm just going to guess one. Don't hold me to this one. We're just going to say 8 of Swords, right? And then tell you corresponds it. The reason why, because of rider weight, yo. And this is all fabricated right now. So we can submit this suggestion as well, and then we can have other people review it to add correspondences down here. If you're going through here and you say that Mars and you're reading through this and you're looking at the correspondences and you're like, man, something's not right. Like, Mars isn't ruled by warriors. Mars rules warriors, right? Mars corresponds to warriors. You can do a suggest edit. So from here, what you can do is you can say other. And what is your suggestion? Mars is not ruled by warriors. It's the opposite. And then we can say, explain why you're suggesting this change. Because, duh. Obviously, you're going to want to put a little more emphasis into it. But then you can submit that suggestion. And we can review that and be like, oh, yeah, ruled by warriors. That doesn't make sense. And then we can go in and we can modify that and as time allows. Another cool feature is the save function. So you come into your Mars or your category or whatever you're at, and you can hit the save icon. When you hit the save icon, this adds it to your grimoire. So if you come up here and you click My Grimoire, you can see your saved correspondences here. And that will allow you to kind of keep a track record of things that you find important, like a favorite list of grimoires. Eventually, there will be a My Bookshelf. The My Bookshelf will allow sources and documentations to be saved to your bookshelf so you can reference them at a later date. The notes function we talked about earlier. Here's how you can edit or delete notes that relate to a specific thing / correspondence. Save documents. These will be things similar to My Bookshelf, but when it comes down to specific documentations that are not necessarily a book, but small excerpts or small subsections / fragmentation. The planning section. This is something we are bringing out here in the future. It's on the roadmap. Planning sections will allow you to use astrological forecasting and a myriad of other tools that will allow you to plan your workings and rituals. So you can see kind of where it's happening in the future, what kind of correspondence you may need to gather for them, and then you can build out all your workings and tools in one location. And that's the My Grimoire. The Atlas Arcanum, this is a section that goes through and shows you different types of magical places throughout the world, different relations to the esoteric world, cool hotspots. Think of Atlas Obscura, but more specific to esotericism, witchy stuff, and occultism. So you can see the different types of reasons why something would happen there. And let's just do it's like Boleskine House, right? It kind of goes into where Boleskine House is, correlations to what it's about, and then it kind of brings in more details about it. Now the claims section here which will be improved in the future, will allow you to link this to different types of operations, rituals, historical events, or correspondences. Let's talk about categories. So categories, in my mind, is where you just want to explore. You don't really have an idea of what you're searching for, but you want to see what World Grimoire has. So you can come in here and find and click around all the different things and just explore what you have to offer. And it leads you into the different sections and the different things that exist. In the future, we're going to improve the search functionality to allow for you to find things based on desired effect or outcome or some type of tangential conversational speech. But this, for now, will allow you to search and explore what we have in our... The people section will allow you to search through different esoteric writers, occultists, historical figures, even entities to some regards. There is a internal debate of myself whether an entity should be into the people tab or into the thing tab, and I would love everyone's feedback on it. For now, entities are in the things tab, and people are literal people, and some maybe historically fictional people. So you can come in here and you can click on different people, and you have the same thing. I'm going to pull up Gordon White because he has a soft place in my heart, especially with recent news. So you can pull up Gordon White and kind of know a little bit about him. And the correspondences, we haven't built all these out yet, but you have the same similar concept. Gordon White would be corresponded to Room Suit. He would be corresponded to starships and animistic inside of the sources and all types of other things within the system. The sources section. This is where you're going to find the links to books, the grimoires, manuscripts, academic articles, and references. This is going to be more about the physical or digital copies of referenced material, things that were written, published, or done. You'll come in and you can kind of see where a little bit about the book, who's signed it or who's viewed it, things like that. You'll see where citations happen, where if you were wanting to build this out into your own personal grimoire and cite this as an article in your own post on Substack or on your video or somewhere else, this will allow you to easily bring those together and plan that out. We're still under works on this one. The whole site's under works. This is launched 3 weeks ago. Now, there's one thing that I can't show right now that is tangential to sources, and that's going to be the audio video sources. We live in an age where things are digital. And what we're going to work on doing is finding a way to reference all of the media that's out there and allow users to cite different podcasts and different audio or visual media formats. So if you wanted to do a working and the great Dr. Sludge has a video describing what you need to do, you could cite his video and pull in the reference material for your working. Now, we want to be very cognizant of copyright material and give credit where credit's due. So the functionality of that may ebb and flow depending on where that boundary lies. But that's the idea we're going to move into the future, is with digital media as well. Now we're going to talk about a thing called Codices. This is going to change. This is not the forever home, and I'm currently under the way of changing it now. But this is a place that allows you to have spells, workings, rituals, invocations, fragments of rituals into a organized fashion. So this is the Our Lady of the Way prayer, and it's an invocation and it's a prayer for it. And I'm not necessarily a fan of how this UI works, and there's limitations to how this functions when you go to add them. So this is going to be reworked and the UI is going to be switched up a little bit. But the purpose of this is allowing you to have different types of prayers and share rituals and share workings and bring all the correspondences into each other and allow you to see how a ritual could be done from start to finish and cut down the busy work and getting to the soul work. So when we print the journal, what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to print it out in several different ways, several different page sizes. And you can come in here and you can choose what you want to include in this. You can choose how you want it to look and what you want it to kind of express at. There's some limitations to it. But the purpose of this is if you use something like a binder, like I do, and you have an A5 binder that's a 6-ring binder, you can print these out on the blank stock of A5 rings, and now you're digitally building your grimoire. So your physical grimoire now is as simple as coming in here, building out your ritual, and then printing it into your binder. We do have a roadmap section that tells us what we're working on to allow you to see kind of where our focus is and what we want to develop in the near term. So if you're curious about what we're building, how we're going to build it out, and all of that, this is where you can go. I want to add a functionality where you can vote on what you would like to see as the next in progress item, or submit feature requests as well. So I'll be working on that here in the near future, but for now you can kind of see where my mind is at the moment. And some of these might have changed a little bit, and I'll do my best to keep those. There is a user guide that can help you understand what the places are inside the site and how you would use them. So very much similar to how we're going over now. There is a user guide that you can always find to help you understand what to do within the site. If you go to the profile section, you have options in here. You can have a display name that will allow you to choose what you would show up as in the site. We don't expose this just yet, but eventually, as contributors become more bountiful, we're going to start displaying the names of them unless you decide to make them the contributions anonymous. Because we want to build a community. We don't want to build a hiding ground. We want people to interact and have a good discourse about how all these things interact together. You could decide to receive announcement emails from us as well if you wanted to do that sort of thing. And you can see what you have contributed to the whole World Grimoire ecosystem. There it is. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you take the time to sign up with us and learn more about what we're doing. It is available to sign up today. These are the prices. I started to see the hosting cost of this is going to rise, and it's going to include more complexities. I can do a deep dive if people wants into how complex this is, but for now, just know that there's a lot on the back end that's pretty intense, even with our modern world of AI. However, you can sign up as a free person. There isn't 7,500 correspondences yet. We are getting closer-ish to that number, but right now it's not. It's about 6,000 things in this database, but I'm sure we're going to easily hit 18, 20, 30, 40,000 things by the time we grow here in the next 2 or 3 years. So I hope that you do take the time to dig into this more and let me know what you think. Thank you.